All right, hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. It is your buddy, Mr. G. Today, we are going to be talking about shapes and making things with shapes in Photoshop. So let's go over here to Photoshop here. Let's go ahead and just make a new document here. Let's go ahead and go File. We'll go New, and we are going to just make an 8 by 10 here. Let's call this thing. You want to call this Shapes Your Name. Okay, an 8 by 10, make sure it's 300 dpi. We're going to leave that in RGB color, and let's go ahead and just get a white background. And we'll go ahead and create that. Okay. All right, so I want to rotate my image here. I want this landscape, not portrait. Let's just rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to hit Command 0 to blow that up here. Okay. I have my layers palette open, my colors palette here, and just properties. So I am up here, okay? First, we're going to talk about shapes. Right over here in your tools bar, I apologize, I'm a little stuffy here, so if I hack and cough all the way through this, I apologize. Let's go ahead and just hold down on your shapes tool here, and just on here, and it shows right here in your little animation, shapes tool, make shapes. Okay, so let's go ahead and just grab a shape here. I just have my default colors of black and white right now. If you want to get that, you can press D on your keyboard. And I am going to drag out a shape. First shape here we've got is just a square. Okay, that's going to make a square. Spectacular. Hit Command Z will get rid of that there. If I hold down Shift, I can make a perfect square that is equal on all sides. If I Command Z, get rid of that guy, and I can make a rectangle by dragging out either way. Let's just go ahead and make a perfect square there. Okay, so we got that guy. We also, inside of here, we have all the tools work pretty much the same way. I've got the ellipse tool here where I can draw out an ellipse or an oval. I can also hit Command C. We'll go ahead and get rid of that guy, and then we'll just make a perfect circle there by holding down Shift. Makes us a perfect circle. Okay, you'll notice up here in the command bar, we've got the height and everything is up there. We'll talk more about that in the options bar here in just a second. We're going to go through all these guys here. Next, we have a triangle tool. Go ahead and we'll pull out a triangle. Again, I can go either way I want. If I hold down Shift, it makes me an equilateral triangle. Go ahead and move this guy over here. Go through all of our shapes here. Then we have a polygon tool here. Polygon is just a mathematical shape with multiple sides. So technically a square and a triangle are also polygons. Right here we have a 5-sided polygon. Then we have a line tool where we can make lines. You see I can click one here and that'll make me a line. That's going to be set by our stroke and everything up here. We'll talk more about that in a second. And then finally, I have my custom shapes tool where I can draw out custom shapes depending on what I have selected. I have a ship here in this case. Go ahead and grab my tool here. There's other custom shapes in here. When I go to the custom shapes thing, I don't use this tool a lot. It's kind of like more of a primitive, kind of like, like a stamp kind of thing. But we have leaves, we've got animals. I have multiple copies of these in here. I've got boats, and I've got flowers. Okay, then they repeat. Don't know why they repeat, but in mind this. So if I pick this flower here, I can go ahead and just drag out that custom shape like that. So then we can move that fella around by pulling him there. Okay. All right, so there's how we make our different shapes. Now, something you'll notice when you make your shapes is first thing is each time I make a shape, puts it on a new layer, right? So we can do the same thing with those shapes. We can poke out the eyes, we can rearrange them. Everything that we can do with a layer, we can do there, okay? Now, let's go ahead and simplify here. We're not going to talk a lot about these pre-stamped shapes. I want you to make your own shapes. So we're going to go ahead and just go ahead and click off those guys, okay? And excuse me, the shapes up here, okay? So it looks like I accidentally made 2 of those on the same one there. Let's go ahead and just grab this circle and Command Z. I want to just go ahead and grab get rid of that guy. We'll make a new circle here, get an ellipse tool here. Drag out another circle here. Okay. Don't know why that is doing that, but let's go ahead and just grab on our shape. All right, so these shapes right here, I must have had it set. Let's go ahead and just delete both those. Let's try this again here. Boys and girls, click out square, click out a circle. It's because I'm holding down shift. That's why. Command 0. Now I'll push shift. That's why I was holding down shift to add those. We'll get back to that in a second. Now I know what I was doing wrong there. All right, so every shape, let's start here with this square here, okay? Every shape that we have has two sides. I got an inside and an outside, okay? So if I grab my move tool, you see I can grab this and I can resize it like that, and I can rotate it and do all that like I can with any other layer, okay? And you'll have that up here, okay? But if I want to change anything, say I want to change the color or this outline, I will have to go back and grab my shape tool again. Okay, so now you notice when I grab the shape tool, up here I have some different options, right? So up here I've got that I can make a shape, a path, or pixel, okay? We're just gonna leave it on shape for right now, okay? I have a fill, which is what the color is on the inside, which right now it has a red line. That means I have no fill, okay? And on stroke, see I have the color black selected, okay? And in my width, I can make that as wide as I want. So if I want to make that 44 pixels, I just push 44, and now I have a 44 pixel wide shape. Okay, let's go ahead and change the inside of that. Let's go ahead and make a blue square with a black stroke. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move on down the line here. Again, I can grab my circle here. If I want a different shape on my circle here or a different color, I can go back up here, get my color. Let's go ahead and fill this one something different. This fill, okay, so I can have no fill right there, hold over top of it. You can have a solid color fill. You can also fill it with a gradient or a pattern. We're not going to talk about patterns. We're going to stick with these first three here for today. So right now I have no fill selected. So let's go ahead and select a solid color. Then I pick any color. We'll pick yellow. We've got our stroke here. Again, we got any color we want. Let's go ahead and make a purple stroke. Nice complement to that there. And we can go on and on and on. Okay, let's go ahead and try our other options here. We'll go ahead and grab our triangle here. Our triangle, again, we'll grab our shapes tool. We'll go in here and let's fill this guy with a gradient. Okay, automatically defaults to whatever you have in your front and back color here. Okay, but we can fill it with other gradients here. If we want to fill it with some of these preloaded gradients, we can do that. We can also edit these gradients. You just double click on the gradient editor bar down here, and we can pick any color we want. So let's do pink to green there. All right, spectacular. So far we know that we can make multiple different kinds of shapes, and we have a stroke, which is the outline mark that we can make wider or thinner right here. And we also can change the fill. We can have no fill, we can have a solid fill, or we can have a gradient fill, or we can also have a pattern fill. We're not going to talk about that today. All right, so that is our basics on shapes there. Okay. All right, now let's talk about some different complex shapes that we can make. We talked about the polygon tool here. It can do some cool things here. We'll show that real quick. Let's grab the polygon tool there. So that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided polygon right here. You notice right up here in my options bar here, I've got the option. Let's go ahead and set this fill back to a solid color. Let's just do blue for this. And we're just going to click away here. So with that polygon tool, okay, I've got that 5-sided polygon. Okay, I made a 5-sided polygon. So if I take and I change this number to 8, you'll see that I can make an 8-sided polygon. Spectacular. Very neat, Mr. G. Move this guy over here. You'll also notice on all your shapes you have these little corners that I can grab. And I can grab that and I can pull those in and I can round those shapes on. So any of these shapes here, I can grab this and I can round those individual shapes off. and they are on every one. So I can take it and round those shapes off, and I can also click on, if I click on it once, I will just affect just that one corner. But back to our polygons. We also have some different options here. If you click this little gear here, we can make stars. Okay, so we have the star ratio here. So if I do this 8 and I say I want to, I just put in, let's say 50. 50 is going to be the amount of star ratio that's going to here. It's easier to show you than it is to do it. I'm just going to drag this out. That's what that's going to do right there. You see that I have 50% of the way in. It's going to take that shape and pull that in 50% of the depth of the shape. And again, that's an 8-sided star there. So, hey, Mr. G, can I make a, I don't know, 77 pointed star? And yes, you can, just like that. And you'll see that this one looks like it filled in. Let's go ahead and put this over top of our circle there. We'll just line that up. It looks like it filled in that inside, but in actuality, what has happened is the stroke is so thick at 22 points, it's filling that in. So I can reduce that. Let's make it 3. And then we'll just click away. And you see that you can actually make your star exactly 3 pixels wide there and have a very fine star. Very cool things. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some different things. All right, I'm going to go ahead and let's just grab my move tool. I'm just going to circle all these shapes up here and just delete them here. Okay, now let's talk about complex shapes. Let's go ahead and just get a regular square here. Okay, let's get a fill, red, stroke 22. That's fine. Okay, now I'm going to drag out a shape here. Okay, there is a shape, a red box with a black outline. Okay, now up here in our shape building tools, we have some options here. I can build a new layer, I can combine some shapes, and I can subtract shapes. Okay, so I can go up here and I can add to this shape. Let's add another box on top. And you'll see these two shapes are now added together. They're not one box on top of another box. They're actually together. So when I click away, you see it's got that stroke that goes around the outside. When I click and move it, it moves them around. Additionally, I can also take my shape and I can subtract it. Okay, so if I say combine shapes, I can also subtract front shapes. Okay, first thing it's going to do that, you just hit Command Z. It's because I clicked off it. You'll see now instead of a plus sign, it has a negative sign to say that I'm going to subtract the next square I make. So if I go in here and I might do this, it's going to subtract that. And I can subtract from the inside. As long as I keep it like that, it'll keep doing that. Okay. I also can intersect shapes. So this again is going to intersect those shapes. So just where these are intersecting, in that case, right there, at Command Z, it will do that. Okay, so I'm going back one step here, and you see that I've got the multiply symbol there. So it's going to intersect, just like the little illustration symbol shows there, where the next shape intersects that I draw is the only thing it's going to keep. Okay, so it gets more complex as you move along. Okay, you also have exclude overlapping shapes. That is just going to exclude everything except for where I overlap. So I go and I do that. It's going to overlap, and just where it's overlapped, that'll exclude that. Okay, so multiple ways we can do it. We can make a new layer like that. I can combine, get the plus sign. It's going to combine those shapes. I can subtract. It's going to go back one step. Just hit Command Z. I can subtract those shapes in there. And then I can intersect and exclude. I don't use intersect and exclude too awful much, but there are helpful situations where it happens. Mostly you're going to use add and subtract. All right, now that you've got these and you figured that out, something else we can do with shapes is right above your shapes tool is the selection tool, the direct selection tool. Okay, if you click and hold that, you have two options there. You have the path selection and the direct selection tool. So if I grab this direct selection tool and I click in here, you see that I can grab parts of this here and I can move it around. I can actually grab individual points here and I can customize my shape to my heart's content. I also have the path selection tool, and that's going to grab individual paths, and you see I can reorder them even though they are married together into one shape, and I can roll them guys around. Okay, very useful. You see I also have the rounded edges tool, so you really can make some really cool custom shapes. Okay, so for your project that you're going to come up, you are going to use this information I have given you on building shapes, and you're going to build something. Okay, what can I build, Mr. G? Well, there's all kinds of things you could build. So in this case here, here's one project I've been working on for some time. Here is a picture of a lion. Okay, now I got photo reference for a lion and I had it sitting right here while I did this. Okay, so that's how I did that. So I can go and I can just go ahead and say file and I can open, where is that guy at? Let's go here to documents, Arthead, digital art1, tutorials, and shapes. I know, or maybe, you know what? I got it in my downloads here. I've probably got African lion. African lion. There he is right there. So there's that picture that I was looking at when I built this picture right here. Okay. You can also, you could take your shapes here and you could go file and you could place that animal, the picture that you got, and you could place that picture right into your image and start building your shapes as you see them right over top of it. Like I see a circle there. So I could grab my shape tool and I could grab an ellipse and I could build it right over top of that and put a circle right over top of that. Of course, I can adjust those, change the color. I could even go and change my color. And I could say, what color do I want? I want that exact color orange that's right there. I've got a stroke. And I say, okay, and you've got that. So you can build your image right on top of an image if you'd like. And a form of kind of tracing with shapes. You're going to break this down into shapes. As you see, like the nose here, it's kind of a teardrop lobe kind of shape. His nose here, here is a triangle. I see shapes of kind of some half moon shapes on his mane. On mine, I broke his hair down into big triangles like this. But you can see how I move those around. Okay, when I get my move tool and I start clicking on some shapes, you can see all the shapes in here. Like this shape here is a very interesting shape. I made that shape by taking a big diamond and I just cut out all these pictures with, and I subtracted from that shape with all these stars to make that kind of fuzzy diamond on his forehead. Okay. Also, you can go over here if you'd like some more. Bounce over here, screencastify always. If you want to go to the West Carrollton Arts website and go to digital arts and go to digital art 1, you will find a whole bunch of your peers and students and some of the things that they have done with this project. So if you scroll down to the current year, starting right here, you will find a whole slew of different things that your peers have made just with shapes. So you can put in a sketch of your own, you can create something from scratch, you can build a picture right on top of another picture. But they've done some really creative things here, even portraits of people, or the Avengers Tower, your favorite sports athlete, okay? A butterfly on a flower, your favorite book cover, a box of McDonald's French fries, a rocket ship to the moon, Pokemon and friends, a killer shark, okay? R2D2, Lots of different things that you can do. Okay. So as you remember, this is an art class. So your first thing that you need to do is come up with an idea. What would you like to do? If you're interested in doing something specific, then jump on there. This student was really interested in motorcycles. When I was like, hey, well, a motorcycle can be made by just combining several shapes, right? So he combined all the shapes, built his right on top of this, and made a spectacular motorcycle. Okay. And then when they're into some different projects. Okay. So go and come up with an idea first. Get yourself a sketch, get yourself some visual reference, and then get jumped in here on this project. All right. Stay creative, ladies and gentlemen. Have a super duper day, and I will talk to you soon.